Okay, so when we're talking about people on screen, we want to now think how we can light them, because lighting is really what's going to make the difference in the video quality. Really step it up from looking amateurish to looking professional. The last light we'll bring in is the fill light. And the main purpose of the key light was the main amount of intensity and luminance, but having that light off at a 45-degree angle, what it does is it causes shadows on the subject's face. For example, the nose, the chin, all these different areas of the body would give you very harsh shadows. So what the fill light will do, it softens those shadows. You still want to have the shadows because the shadows is what we're giving the illusion of depth. It puts character into the subject's features and face. And it puts character to the body because the body now itself may be casting a shadow. Although you don't want to see a harsh shadow in the background, just the fact that there's a different amount of intensity of light on the subject in the background will start to give you that depth, and that's from the shadows. So what we do with that fill light is we just want to soften the intensity of those shadows. Now, if you're doing an interview, for example, it's a 60-minute style interview, and you're talking about some corporate executive that you are trying to portray them as clearly guilty, that they did whatever they were, purported to have done. You may not want to soften those harsh shadows. You may want that look, and you'll see that when you start looking at that type of show. Look at the lighting more critically. You can also take that key light and move it further than the 45-degree angle axis from the camera, and it'll increase the shadows even more. So have a play with that between your key and fill. Now typically, though, your fill light, the intensity of your fill light is about half of what your key light will be. So your backlight can be as intense as your key, but generally focused and spotted up a lot more than your key light. I should also tell you that some of the fixtures you'll look at out there have the ability to actually focus the lens of the camera. And what it does basically is inside the housing of the unit, there's often a dial or a lever that physically moves the light bulb closer to the front or further to the back of the fixture. And by doing that, it's shot through glass. It generally either focuses it in a tighter spot or it'll pull it into more of what we'll call a flood, and it widens out the beam. So that's one way of focusing it. The more focused it is, the more intense it is. When you start to flood it out, the intensity drops off, so you're getting the intensity of more of a fill light if it's very flooded out. So keep in mind with your fill, you have three different ways of lowering the light level. One, you use a smaller fixture. If you have the 6 and 300 or 750 and 500, you go that route. Or if you don't, they're all the same. You can pull the fixture further away from your subject, or you can use diffusion material over top of them. And that will give you that way of adjusting the intensity. You may also, I do many interviews, although I have enough lights for a 3 or 4 lighting setup, I will often use just 2 lights because I'm quite happy with the look. And what I put in place of a fill light is I use a reflector board. And you can get a professional one. You can go to the lighting shops or the photo shops, and they have them in sort of a tin foil appearance. Some of them fold up into a circle, and they'll pop out into a nice circle panel, and you'd put it onto a grip stand that would just hold it there, have an assistant hold it there. But another way to do it very easily is white Bristol board. Go to your stationery store and you get a, sort of 3-foot by 2-foot cardboard with a bright solid white cover on it, and you use that as a reflective board because all you're trying to do is soften those harsh shadows. So by having an assistant hold them or put it on a grip stand, you can get the exact same effect. So here we have a subject in the position in the upper left. This girl is sitting in a room, and this is just existing room light. So this is probably just an overhead lamp, overhead fixture in the room that's on. Now you can see there is not a whole lot of separation between her and her background. You really don't know if it's 3 feet, 5 feet, 7 feet. It also just doesn't punch out at you much. It's fairly flat. We move to the one on the upper right. We see this is just the key light on. So you can see coming in at that 45-degree angle, it's quite, it punches up the light and the intensity, and you see the details better. Then we move to the lower left, where now we've added a backlight. And now you can see your hair on the right side is lit up a little more, and her shoulder, and you're now starting to get some more separation from the background. And the last one is they've put the fill light in on the left side and soften the shadows. Now, it is subjective, and depending on your monitor and how you're seeing it, I almost would go somewhere between that key back and fill and the key and back as what I think is perfect lighting, because I do like a darker side to a subject's face, just to give you that feeling of, just it enhances the shadows. I don't mind that at all. Here's another one that's well done with 3-point lighting. We've got a key coming in on the left side. We've definitely got a backlight. You can see her shoulder is nicely separated. You see on that left side, and her hair has some glints and highlights to it. And the shadows aren't too strong, but you can still see a difference in intensity in the light on her face between the right side and the left side. But she definitely stands out from that backdrop. Play with it, start using it more and more, and you will really, really be happy with the difference you're getting in your images.